Boy, do I have some content for you today. I don't know if you've... Let me move my microphone. I don't know if you've ever heard of the show Rescue 911. It's an old American TV show from the 80's. Perfect. Captain Kirk himself is the host of this show. It is amazing. But what I want to cover today is they cover an incident, right? There's two runaway wagons. Oh, good sound. There's two runaway wagons. Oh, whiskey. The stunts that are performed in this show are fucking amazing, and I reckon they'd give Jackie Chan a run for his money. It is like what you're looking at is happening because this is the 80's. There's no CGI. Like, okay, let's just fucking have a go, eh?
On October 3rd, 1985, Michigan State Trooper David Hare was only an hour away from the end of his shift. But on this day, David would not be able to serve out his time uneventfully. Instead, he was forced to watch as a freak accident on a road outside Northville, Michigan, changed the lives it touched forever.
Let's turn that up, eh?
When a train is coming to a crossing, signals, lights, and guardrails are triggered to warn everyone to get off the tracks before hundreds of tons of steel roll through.
The result of death is much higher with these than any other type of land accident. The comparative weight of a train and a car, there's just no match. The train itself weighs as much as 200 automobiles, so there's the engineer actually feels nothing when he hits a car.
Wrong. He feels it. Cars can actually derail trains, so that's okay. I mean, he wouldn't feel it much, but he would feel it.
Around 2 in the afternoon, George and Celine Jokic were driving west on 7 Mile Road on their way to lunch.
Okay, that might not seem like much to most people, but that caught on camera is what we would call loose shunting. Now, we don't do that anymore. It's not a thing. We're not allowed to do it. It's where you bottle the air. So, okay. The way the brakes work is air in, brakes off, air out, brakes on. Does that make sense? So, you shut both taps, you push it with a train, and you uncouple that wagon, and they fuck off by themselves. This is how they used to shunt back in the day. They used to hit dead ends, cars, other wagons, train, like locos, people. They didn't give a fuck back then. This is the 80's, man.
At the same time, 2 runaway boxcars were heading downhill towards 7 Mile Crossing.
Sorry, this is going to be a long video. They're not cars. Cars are self-propelled. They are wagons. Okay? A wagon is pulled. Okay?
State Trooper David Hare was driving east toward the same crossing.
I don't care. You got the right to remain silent. Why don't you exercise that right? I was returning to the Northville Post.
That's the best 80's cop line. Why don't you exercise
a larceny
that right?
and some selling of narcotics at a high school. As I approached the tracks, there was a vehicle in front of me, lady in it that was going relatively slow. My thoughts at the time were, hurry up, because I had an hour left in my shift before I started a 4-day weekend.
Understandable.
There was no warning of the approaching boxcars.
I was just about to cross the tracks, and I didn't even notice or pay much attention to the vehicles approaching me coming from the other direction. All at once I saw something as large as a house.
Check it on the...
That's number 2. All right, so the wagon has hit the car. There is a person in... That's not a dummy. You can... I know it's blurry as shit, but you can see a face with an emotion on it. So, I don't know how they've done this.
And I remember thinking that there's no way anybody's going to be alive in that car.
Dawn Kelly saw the collision from her van.
Boxcar came through the intersection. The blinking lights didn't flash. The gates didn't come down.
The blinking lights didn't flash. I actually don't know why they wouldn't flash. I think those would be... It's a circuit. So technically, it doesn't matter how heavy they are as long as that circuit... So if you put like a metal bar across the railway... Don't tell anyone I told you this. If you put a metal bar across at a road crossing, it will actually activate the lights because the circuit is now complete. Does that make sense? That's how... It doesn't work off like weight or anything, so I don't know why those... Unless they were going too fast. Maybe it didn't... I don't know.
I knew right away that the person who was sitting on the passenger side was going to be hurt.
What are you going to do? Why are you running over the top? Did you see that? Let's...
Intersection, the blinking lights didn't flash. The side was going to be hurt.
This bit right in. That is not... That's like an actual... That's a dude sitting in a car that is getting pushed by a wagon. How the fuck were you allowed to do that on any railway system, even in the 80s?
2116-21. We've got a serious car train accident, 7 Mile in Northville. There's still southbound on the tracks. There's 2 box cars and 1 vehicle. Clear 16, Northville Road, 6 Mile. The people in the vehicle were my main concern. If anybody was alive, what kind of condition they were in, stopping the thing so we could get them out. The only thing I could think of was the brake wheel on the boxcar. I put my foot to the floor. My intention was not only to get ahead of the boxcars, but a 6 Mile road, I knew I could get up to the tracks relatively quickly. The bridge at 6 Mile was of great concern to me. The vehicle's not going to fit across that bridge. If it hits the bridge at any speed, I have no idea what's going to happen. If it's going to dislodge the vehicle.
They cut out there before the end of the boxcar. So there could be a loco pushing that for the movie. They could have hidden a loco somewhere, I guess.
Drop it onto the road underneath the bridge, just derail the boxcars. I have no idea. I was well ahead of the boxcars at this point. They were traveling 40 miles an hour or so when they entered the intersection, and I'm sure we're slowing due to the...
40 miles an hour, that's like 60 kilometers? Where's my phone? Yeah, 64 kilometers. That's pretty fucking quick.
Vehicle lodged in the front. When it got into view, I could see an elderly gentleman waving out his driver's window at me. Your mind races a million miles an hour in a situation like that. I remember thinking that if I wait for the end of the second boxcar, it's obviously the safest place to board, but there may not be a brake wheel there. I elected to board between the boxcars, hoping that one car or the other would have a brake wheel.
Jesus. Fuck,
when I made contact with that handrail,
just that, like, look how he's running on the ballast. So that won't look like much on camera, but that ballast is pretty fucking steep, and he's... For a stuntman to be sprinting next to the rail, if he trips and throws his arm out, his arm's gone. Fuck, like, this gives me anxiety. Fuck.
When I made contact with that handrail, it deceived me. That sucker's going a lot faster than I thought.
So this is, I believe this stuntman is actually a railway worker. I have no proof of this, other than the way he turns the wheel. He knows, like, you turn, and once it gets tight, you give it that one last sort of rip. That's what I do. See? There. What he just did is how they actually like I said before, it's how they used to shunt. So in a rail yard, again, it's called loose shunting, you would pump up the rate, so you kick the brakes off, close all the taps on the wagons, so now that's called bottling the air, and then that means the brakes won't come on unless you put a handbrake on or you release that air pressure. So the two ways they would do it is, they'd either connect, push, release one coupler, and the wagons would fuck off, and then they'd run in front of it, flip a road, run up to it, grab the brake and time it so that they could stop it where they wanted to. It was a very dangerous and very poor way of doing it. Okay. First thing I would have done in that situation, as a railway worker, someone who deals with, well, I've actually never really dealt with this because it doesn't happen anymore. Shouldn't happen anymore. I wouldn't go for the handbrake. My first step would be to run behind the wagon. That way, if I trip and fall, I only eat rocks. I don't lose an arm or die. There is a tap at the back of the wagon. I would drop that tap. That would release all the air and apply the brakes. If it was bottled. Brakes can bleed off by themselves over time. It does happen. It will happen. So maybe those wagons were like in a yard, left unattended. They've dropped the air. The brakes are on. They've gone, oh sweet, they're not moving. They've walked away. The brakes have come off over time, and then they've started to roll. That does happen. That can happen. That is why we have handbrakes. But the first thing I would have done is gone for that tap. If that didn't work, now I've got to go for the handbrake. Because 9 times out of 10, it's probably the tap. Someone's bottled the air and the wagons have gone. And it stops right on time.
I could tell that the driver was okay. Physically, he appeared to be in good shape. There's no massive bleeding externally or anything at that point. The passenger was critically injured. I ran back to the patrol car, radioed the post, told them that we needed him.
I'm not going to go through the rest of the video because it just talks about after. But just that. Look how much ballast that wheel is pushing up. This has to be like a line that they were going to repair anyway, or like a decommissioned line. Because there is, I mean, this is America, so it could be any reason why. But I don't know why they would just tear up the track for a movie unless it was like on a line that doesn't exist anymore. Again, I know it's a different time period, a different way of working, different procedures and all that sort of shit. And again, this is not a rail thing. I'm talking about it from like them filming this perspective. The 80's were fucking badass, man. Have you seen the Blues Brothers? Have you seen the car accidents in the Blues Brothers? Holy shit. Anyway, guys, that's all I wanted to show you. This show is called Rescue 911. There is a few train sort of episodes. I might get into a few, I might not, but there is one where kids get close to the track and a kid actually gets hit. Doesn't kill him, it just taps him in the head. It's like a baby. I don't want to do that one. But again, the acting in this is just Oscar quality. Like, unreal. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.